What's going on, workforce? Brian here, and today I want to talk about subjobs and everything they could be and everything they probably will never be. Anyway, if you're unfamiliar with them, stick around, let's discuss. So the reason I'm bringing up this topic today is just this has been one that has been in the back of my head for a long time. And so, like I said, if you're unfamiliar with what the subjob system is, Final Fantasy, even in their single-player games, some of them have incorporated this concept that as you change jobs, you can take some part of that other job to your new and existing job. And it ended up allowing you to have very interesting and creative builds. And Final Fantasy XI used this as well, to the point where your sub-job was half the level of your main job. So if you were at level 50, your sub-job was level 25. Now, granted, you actually had to level up your sub-job. So if you were like, level 50 white mage and a level 5 black mage, and you chose black mage as your sub-job, you'd be a 50 white mage and a 5 black mage, and so you wouldn't be taking full advantage of it. Let's talk about the downsides first. From a balancing perspective, from a meta perspective, there's one answer. There's usually one particular answer, and you can easily see that and how that would be translated here. 14 somewhat tried that with a class system with with those skills, and it really didn't work. Obviously, they got rid of that, and we have the cross role system for these shared abilities for your role. And so introducing a sub-job type system in and of itself, I think would only lend itself to forcing players to playing something they don't want. Imagine Ninja being the sub-job for Dark Knight. Imagine being a Dark Knight, and all of a sudden it's like, well, if you really want to be, efficient, and we're looking for, Dark 70, Nin 35, I could easily see that being very frustrating and confusing, especially if not handled right. But from again, like the offline games use it, Final Fantasy XI uses it, I think it adds a lot to, obviously the diversity of the jobs themselves. It's just because it's hard to do, just because it would be hard to do, and obviously this would not happen in the life of Stormblood, this would be something for the future. It would add in a lot of versatility to the jobs where there, doesn't seem to be, that in the game right now. In 11, it was just always half of what it was, and you would have to level it. So I could see that being, some kind of roadblock, because imagine you never really wanted to play that job, but for whatever reason, that other job became the meta for, your main job, and that would be unfortunate. And honestly, there's ways you could go about it, maybe not make it, where you have to level it. You can kind of just, hey, I'm going to, unlock this and, etc. And then that could almost, at the end of the day, be also too easy. Are these skills? Are these traits? What about that sub job adds to your main job? At a core, it could, outside of balancing, outside of meta, outside of that, especially in an online game, it's a fun system. When you think about tactics, when you think about the other games, that for whatever reason don't come to mind this minute for me, you were able, like Bravery Default uses this very well, where you can, pick a kind of a set of skills, and then you can also kind of have some traits and things like that, and you can kind of mix and match to find kind of the perfect build. In an offline game, that works fantastic. In an online game, again, like it says, it's going to present its challenges and its issues, and it's that, I guess, at the root of all of this is that I hope that just because it presents challenges and issues, and not that this is the system that we need, just as a question, and a discussion to have with you guys, but hopefully Yoshi P and the team don't run away from the difficult, don't run from the challenge, don't run from being revolutionary when it comes to this Final Fantasy XIV. They've been, on the defense. They've pivoted. We're on, the fourth expansion, 4.0 now, and going into 5.0, going into 6.0. We're gaining momentum, and hopefully that means that we can start to see new and interesting and I guess ideas that kind of push the boundaries and hopefully affect us positively in the long run. I think at the core of it, I would love to see some type of sub-job system, some type of system in which that our builds could become more diverse. outside of the challenges, outside of the balance, for me, it just feels right. But that's just my opinion, and I'd love to know yours. Sound off in the comments below. Would you love to see a sub-job system make its way at some point into Final Fantasy XIV? Whether you're coming from 11, whether you're coming from an offline game, let me know. I think there's definitely some value there. There's a lot of challenges there, especially with how the game has been built with matchmaking. I mean, we could just name, this could almost be name the roadblock or the challenge to this type of system, because we'll have, I think there's easily a lot more ideas there, but, I think there's some benefits, and I think it's at least worth the discussion. So, yeah, sound off in the comments below. Let's have that conversation. And guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I do hope to see you in my next, but until then, I hope you have a fantastic day. And take care of yourself. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Test the audio. Test the audio. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Test the audio. Hey! Test the audio. Yeah! I apologize.